Let's do it. IT. They're still streaming on Facebook. They are not on billions.
A very good morning, dear pool lovers. It is a very hot Saturday morning, the 29th of November 2025. Once again, we are at Billiards Cafe, Kolima Tower in Lusaka, where we are having this 4-day double life competition that is happening on day number 3 of 4. Welcome to the stream, welcome to the channel, welcome to today's round of matches. On table is a match in the round of last 8 in the first life. Remember, it is a double life competition. The first day of action did have matches where the close to 100 players did have matches until only 8 were left. The 8 included the 2 Ugandans, Caesar and Geoffrey Setumba. Then Of course, those are playing against each other. Timothy Onida Sakala of Zimbabwe and Zama Taninge of South Africa. There's Sanford Griven Ginte of Malawi, and he's taking on Stephen Banda of Zimbabwe. And now this between Malvern Mukonza, Zimbabwe, and Joseph Kasozi from Uganda. They are racing to 11 for a place in the semi-finals of the first life. It is 6 frames to 4. The Zimbabwean is leading against the Ugandan. Be reminded of the money match that they had just about 5 days ago in Harare, racing to 15 for $1,000 US, 15 frames to 10. The match was won by Malvern Kulbi, taking down Joseph Kasozi for the second time in succession in a second different country. We shall only be having commentary partially because I've really been struggling with technology, ensuring that the videos come to you, aligning the available network to the gadgets, failing to set up the stream, and stream then starting, and then another stream that I have to take care of at the same time. Welcome to Peter Chove Live YouTube streaming platform. The Break and Finish Live YouTube streaming platform has the match between Geoffrey Setumba and Caesar Chandiga. Another race to 11, it is live with Caesar leading by 9 frames to 3. There's another match that is happening between Zama, the South African, who reached the highest position in the last edition of all players that are participating in this competition. He's taking on Timothy Onida Sakala. Then the fourth match of them all quarterfinals has Stephen Banda, the one Zambian left in the tournament with 2 lives, taking on Sanford Griven Ginte from Malawi. For this one, it is Maluva 6 and Kasozi 4.
we can maintain it.
Oh. Nah. Oh, cool,
Yes, Mate. Yes, Ginte. Let's talk about it.
One more, boy. One more. Ingolo wako. Ewe kuzofanya manje.
But don't take money.
Very good afternoon, dear viewers. Once again, as we watch the last maybe 20, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 15, even maybe 10, depending on the outcome of the result of the match that is happening. That is, in my opinion, the bigger of the four matches that have been happening at the same time right here at Billiards Cafe in Lusaka. It is Zimbabwe's Malvern Makonza, arguably the best player in the country, and I'm only saying arguably in the opinion of some, taking on the player that is ranked first by Uganda's Pole Association in Joseph Kasozi. The race of the match for a place in the round of last four in the first life. The round of last four is the prize for the victory, which seemingly could go the way of the Zambian Maluva, who leads by 9 frames to 5, racing to 11. This is him having 5 yellows on the table. More likely than not, what he needs is to perfect a relatively, and I'm saying on a relatively easy pattern, with which we'll use to try and take down the player who is nowadays one of his biggest rivals on the continent. The matches these two play against each other seem not to have any kind of friendliness in them. It is just maximum competition. They have their own history, most especially last year when Malvern did make a tour of Uganda. It was meant to have the $500 money match with Joseph Kasozi, who opted to have an increased pot, and with the Malva's refusal to increase the pot to at least 800, if not 1,000, Malvern pulled out of the race. The two then got to face off in a weekly comp, one of those numerous ones that I normally stream in Uganda at the pool arena that was called the Kamocha Pool Center, racing to 5. I do remember Kasozi winning by 5 frames to 2. Later on, there was a money match that was organized, racing to 16 at Addis Club in Kampala between the two by 16 frames to 12. The match, 16 frames to 13. Sorry, the match was won by Joseph Kasozi. Rematch of that action was gotten just 5 days ago in Mashengo town at the eve of the Zimbabwe Pole Association Nevson Pole Select annual competition. And that money match, racing to 15, was won by 15 frames to 10 by Malvern Mukonza, who is on the verge of increasing his head-to-head count against the Ugandan by perhaps winning another frame and increasing his lead. Malvern now needs to win 1 out of the remaining 6 frames to make his way into the second straight semi-final of a major African Cup, most especially after reaching the semi-finals in the African Ultimate Pool Championships. Malvern Makonza 10 and Joseph Kasozi 5. The live stream of this action is on 2 platforms. Kipixel's Photography Facebook, as well as Peter Chobe Live YouTube, with a horizontal Facebook stream and a vertical YouTube stream. Both streams looking clear and flawless, with the same exact commentary frame. Number 16 is now upon us, with Malvern having one thing in his mind: win it and make his way into a would-be inevitable semi-final. You don't see Kasozi winning 6 frames in a row. No shade of a doubt he can, but doing it is something else altogether. And he could not get to play again in the match if Malvern gets to win the frame with his current visit of the table by break and finish. There's one player that has made his way into the first live semi-finals. The Ugandan Caesar Chandiga taking down fellow Ugandan Geoffrey Setumba, defeating him by 11 frames to 5. The same player whom he defeated in the round of last 16 it was round of last 32 in the second live. So Geoffrey Setumba Fire in the competition has been exited by the same person. The winner of this match will, in the semi-finals, therefore, be taking on Caesar. There is another match that is happening between Timothy Sakala or neither some kind of Nevis and Derby. Of course, both players being associated to Nevis and Select. And another quarterfinal between Dr. Rango Simin Banda and another player with 2 lives, that is Stanford Given Ginte. The Malawian, those two, by the way, have 2 lives, sorting out each other. And the winner will be taking on the winner of the match between Zama and Sakala. Now Malvern seems to be playing well enough to inspire support from the crowd, to make it realistic. He has this problem of the cue ball having partially snookered the yellow ball that is bottomwards of them all. On the Kipixel's Photography, it is leftwards on Peter Chobe Live. He doesn't have full sight of it unless he can have a curve of the cue ball round the immediate yellow, which itself is not easily portable. Maybe the immediate yellow to try and put it to the center pocket bottom, it is possible, but with a very sharp cut, also having to avoid contact between another yellow and red. Just pass it there in between to make it into the center pocket, and there he does. No better way for the Zimbabwean to bounce back against the player whom he defeated last week in a different city, in a different country, that was in Mashingo in Zimbabwe. By the way, there after the following day, Malvern provoking Kasozi to have a rematch of action. Kasozi is choosing to turn him down. And the tournament has now given us the rematch in quotes, which seems to be on the verge of being won by Malufa. Next up is the second live quarterfinals. Mouth-watering action. Kelvin versus Ginte, and yes, Caesar versus Jerry. There has been a miss by Malvern. Maybe he made it a little bit more difficult than it should have been. Has to be very wary that while he is leading big, his opponent is more than capable of winning the frame, and maybe another and another. Put Malvern under more pressure, make it realistic that Kasozi can win 6 frames in a row. Not very easy, but also not impossible. He's on the blues. 5 of them there, 3 of them piled up almost just close to the black. The other 2 in pretty good space. The Ugandan sharpshooter is in trouble here. I didn't know. We'll be giving you updates about the match between Maluva and Rango, which is drawing 10-all and headed into a decider. But there is no decider here. It looks like the shot Joseph Kasozi, the Ugandan, has just missed, has been his last participation in this year's edition of the Billiards Cafe Double Life competition, because more likely than not, Malvern will be finishing the ongoing frame to take his first life into the semi-finals. It is his only life in the competition anyway. The other player, the players with 2 lives are the Ugandan Caesar, then Rango and Ginte, who are cancelling out each other. The loser will remain with 1 life, the winner with 2, and then Timothy Onida, the Zimbabwean Sakala. His international teammate Malvern has his work cut out. He will want to draw the cue ball backwards and bigly backwards to the backspin off the cushion. That is very good cueing, and there is no better way to finish off the frame, finish off the match, finish off a rival than play a shot that skillful. The 23-year-old is heading to the semi-finals, and there goes Maluva, taking down Joseph Kasozi, this time a little more convincingly than in the money match. The race between the two has ended in the score: Zimbabwe and Maluva 11, Kasozi and Uganda 5, with Kasozi heading out and Maluva heading into the semi-finals, and is going to be taking on Caesar late this evening. Thank you for watching. Let's meet in the next one. But there is no harm in watching the decider between. The stream is not going off. We are watching the decider between Ginte and Rango.
John, who's that white lady in the breaking?
All right, as we wait for these guys to come for timing, we can for a minute watch the match between Zama and Eshka. This. The score is 9 frames to 6. The South African Mzamo, he finished in the highest position in the last edition. He was second to fellow South African Aiden Joseph. I was just joking with him yesterday. I told him you are the new defending champion because the actual defending champion is not participating. Then he smiled away. He's taking on his friend and management teammate. That is Timothy Onida Sakala. Both of them are managed under the Harare management company, Nevsan Select. While Zama is South African, of course, he has some Zimbabwean blood in him and is managed under team Nevsan that is sponsoring him. But now the two teammates have to sort each other out. With Sakala fighting for 2 lives, Zama on 1. Sakala 7 and Mzamo 9. hope you are enjoying what is now a 360-degree coverage of the First Life quarterfinals. At least we have gotten to watch each of the 4 matches, whatever duration. This one is Stanford given Ginte trying to win the frame and try to win it by break and finish. He's one of Africa's best tournament players, no shade of a doubt. He has always been there in the latter stages of the competition. He won this event in 2023, 2024 not coming that good, 2025 wanting to come one better than 2024. He has played himself a little bit out of position for the cue ball, playing into a dead yellow, pushing it straight against another cushion, different from the one against which it was frozen before the frame was done. Now he's attempting rail drive, wanting to get it in. It seems off. It is in. That is why Ginte is without a shadow of a doubt one of Africa's best tournament players, on the verge of putting yellow and black to corresponding corner pockets, left and bottom. The pot of the black will inspire Ginte to be the second player after Caesar into the competition with 2 lives in the semi-finals. He is congratulated by Lloyd and pumps himself up. We'll be awaiting the winner of the match between Sakala and Zama to know his opponent in the First Life semi-finals. That is him, the 2023 champion, is in business here, taking one of his lives in the semi-finals, and yet his other life is in the quarterfinals. Who will he face in the next round shall be determined by the winner of this ongoing match. You can see. In this match, dear viewers, a race to 7 it is. South Africa's Zama Ntaninge is leading by 9 frames to 7 against Zimbabwe's Timothy Onida. I want to beg your pardon. I misinformed you about 5 minutes ago. Sakala actually has 1 life. Zama has 1 life. The loser of this match will be exiting this competition once and for all. You do remember him. He has not exactly got a very bad last week whatsoever, which he started off by winning a money match against the Ugandan Joseph Kasozi Thursday last week, sealing off the week by coming second in a calendar comp of the Zimbabwe Police Station, coming second in the Nevsan Select Annual Championship, losing out in the final by 7 frames to 5 against the eventual winner Eshka Chimbwanda. The following day, he won a weekly comp at Mega 1 in Harare, Who did he beat in the final? Eshka Chimbwanda. He has also taken his life to the quarterfinals of a major African comp, a sign of a player that is really having good form. But is taking on a way more experienced player, Mzamo, who also has history on his high side. He did take both of his lives last year, same time, same venue, same tables, into the semi-finals, losing one of his semi-finals to Mandy, yet he won another of his semi-finals against, guess who? Aiden. Aiden got to win his second life and then found Mzamo in the grand final and beat him there, with Aiden taking first position, Mzamo second, and another South African, Mandisa Mente, taking third position in a comp that was dominated by the South African players. This time round, it is two South Africans who registered, and both of them are still involved, worryingly involved. One of them, Zamo, could be on the way to the semi-finals because at least he's having a lead of 9 frames to 7. You never say never. The second South African is coming up next against the Ugandan with 2 lives, and that is Caesar. The other 2 Ugandans, Geoffrey Setumba and Joseph Kasozi, are now out.
Whatever they want is a few days ago, they want to That's the game on the table. What's the explanation you want? Is that bet like that? What he loses, he wants. He used flight or pass. So I just booked the ticket yesterday. I went with the one on. What's hard about supporting? what's so bad about it? Come up with what make you what you want to do? This is not the same thing. When you come to see, it's economic force.
That's that extra. You don't do like that. Just like your friend, you want them to
It's fun.
be careful because the microphone is full.
I may fail to. It is risky if I give away the data.
No, just the cable.
Let me give you this one.
It was always obvious which match of them all for quarterfinals was going to take the most amount of time. And it is the match between the two players that take the most amount of time in between shots. The Zimbabwean Timothy Onida Sakala and the South African Mzamo Ntaninge. Race to 11 now is poised at 10:10. Frame number 21 is the decider, deciding a lot of things. Whether it will be two Zimbabweans into the semi-finals with yet another Zimbabwean in the quarterfinals in the second life. Malvern is in the first life semi-finals. Sakala could join them. Whether it will be one South African left in the competition or two. Remember, last edition had a South African winning and taking second position, the same exact guy that you're watching, and then third position went to Mandisa Mente. It is two players left in with 2 lives. A Malawian in Ginte and then a Ugandan in Caesar. Look at this for a frame opening shot from Zama, as they call him in South Africa. He does stand a chance. He takes all the time. He has very accurate game reading. I do remember interviewing Aiden when he won against Zama in the finals last year, and told me that he rated Zama so highly and has played for so many years. In fact, when Aiden was an up-and-coming player, Zama was always a senior player, and he has maintained a top level of play for 20 years and still going strong. He's very serious on the pool table, but in actual life, he's full of comedy. You meet him somewhere, he will not fail to make you laugh at whatever reason it will be. But now it's not time for laughing, it is time for action. Action in which he will try and take down a guy who is supposed to be his teammate at management level in Sakala, who has some affiliation to Nevson, the team that manages Zama as well. Playing the cue ball with the top spin off the cushion and into the red. He has sight of only one of the reds. The one that is topwards of them all watching on Peter Chobe Live. It is leftwards of them all watching on Kipixel's photography, which he will want perhaps to cut to the corner pocket, have the cue ball bounce off the cushion, the side where he's standing, perhaps have it into space where he could have a chance to put any of the 3 reds left on the pool table. Last frame of the first life quarterfinals between Zama and Sakala. Both players perhaps representing more than one country, with Zama being South African but being managed by a Zimbabwean company. He has support from that side. And then Sakala being Zimbabwean but having a little bit of Malawian blood in his body. Still, Zama has sight of only one red portable to the center pocket bottom. Watching on Kipixel's photography, it is the left center pocket watching on Peter Chobe Live YouTube. Here is the shot. The aim is to have a sharp cut of the ball he's looking at to the center pocket. He may want to play the cue ball towards the right end of the table, then move it back. Right end of 2 cushions. I am not so certain it has moved enough, but again, he has the chance to recover. Yes, the red that is close to yellow near the center pocket, top or right, depending on where you're watching from, is portable diagonally. Cue ball naturally remains perhaps at the same spot where the red is, for him to put yet another red to the corresponding center pocket. You get the feeling that maybe he has a right to be contemplating even how to play the black ball. The 2 reds pretty much done and dusted. With all that experience, you gets to think, he will be sinking in. There will be difficult of them to read left on the table. He's taking all the time in this world, all the time to think and imagine. He will not want to be the player who reached the highest level in the last edition and then get knocked out in the quarterfinals in the very next, by the way, which is actually round of last 16, because it is a double life competition. 4 sets of matches in the second live quarterfinals are coming up live as Zama instructs, I would say, Timothy to move out of his face as he plays a big shot trying to put red to the diagonal corner pocket top right. Here he goes as though he wants to play with power stop effect. Perfect. Here we are. You get a feeling maybe he's not fully contented with the position of the cue ball. He wanted it maybe a little bit more natural, that when he puts the last red on the table, he will have an angle where he can play the black by bank to the center pocket top where he's having his body. It is the right center pocket if you're watching on Peter Chobe Live. The Zama show is on, ladies and gentlemen. Watching it keenly, most especially from South Africa. Also, many of you watching it from Zimbabwe. Of course, the ambition for Zama is to put red to the center pocket with a little backspin on the cue ball, have enough sight of the black to cut it off the cushion, try and put it to the center pocket right, which is the top center pocket on Q-Pixel's photography. Here he is a little bit out of sorts. He knows that shouldn't he finish the frame, there's a likelihood that his opponent instead will. Has to be played on target and with backspin. This will certainly do. I think it's a shot that has been played with accuracy. He can cut the black off the cushion. There has to be avoidance of playing it into the yellow. The center pocket where he wants to play it by bank, by double, becomes even wider because there is Sakala's yellow, which the black can be played off and goes in direct into the corner pocket. It can also go in direct if not off the yellow. The shot has to be by bank, which if he does get right will inspire celebration in Gauteng in South Africa, where he comes from. The Zama show is on, either to have a shot that takes it into success or inspire Sakala to. It is not a successful bank. It is instead an opportunity for Sakala, who has been watching and waiting and praying. And yes, the prayer has gone through. He has gotten a chance to play. SK Motors, as he is nicknamed, is having the hard task of all of them. 7 yellows on the table. His opponent is on the black. You get a feeling that Sakala will be playing defense, but his idea is otherwise. He has just played the cue ball in the black, playing it even closer to the center pocket, making it a little bit more tricky going for the frame. The cue ball hasn't been managed that well either. He cannot put any of his 6 yellows on the table with any kind of ease, but yes, he can pot. You do get a feeling that if he gets to pot a ball, he will want to play defense. Better still play snooker now. There is a yellow that is almost close to the cushion. He will want to simply tap the cue ball against it and then play a snooker. But then he has this ill feeling in himself that what if the opponent comes off the left cushion and then finds the black and then puts it. That's why he will want a total snooker. The snooker is successful. There is this very, very, very daring shot. It is a tempting shot. It is possible for Zama to find black by massive shot, swerving the cue ball round the yellow, playing it into the black. Should he find it, there is an outside chance of potting it. It is not a total snooker from SK Motors. It is a chance for Zama to play one big shot for one final time to maintain his one and only life in the first life. It's the shot he will want to play. He's choking the tip of his cue, hopefully for him, for just one time in the match, in this decider, in this divider. He will try as the world awaits. Watching close to 2,000 combined and Q-Pixels photography as well as Peter Chobe live, Zama with a massive shot, cover the cue ball round the yellow to try and find the black. Hopefully, if he doesn't pot it, for him at least not to foul. He's even having some kind of measurement of the amount of spin he may have to perfect. Nonetheless, there's nowhere to hide. He must try out the shot. Here it is. Here it is. He has that ill thought in his mind that what if I don't get it right. He now decides instead to play off the cushion maybe, but it's very risky. The yellow is so close to the cue ball as well as cushion. In the end, he makes up his mind that the mass shot is the least risky, though the more difficult to perfect. Here he goes. You don't get to see him so many times playing these shots, but here he is, finds the black, but doesn't pot. Everybody was waiting and watching and expecting. The expectation has seen the shot legal, but a ball not potted, a frame still on. What can SK Motors do about this? He has been, for the last 1 week, he would argue, probably the most informed Zimbabwean player, at least for the space of 1 week. It has been 3 events, all of which in which he's participating very well, actually 4. He did have a money match against the Ugandan Joseph Kasozi at Mega 1 in Harare, winning it. He did participate in the Zimbabwe Pool Association Nevsan Select Pool Championship in Mashingo, in which he came second out of close to 100 players, taking home $700 for coming second. He moved to Harare the night after coming second in that comp, participating in a weekly comp that happened at Mega 1. He won the comp after defeating Eshka in the final. He took both of his lives in this big African comp to the round of last 16. One of his lives was lost in the round of last 16 yesterday. The other life is in the round of last 8 and is taking it in a decider and is playing a big snooker for one time, which if Zama doesn't find the black, you get that Sakala will be winning the match. Zama off the top cushion to find the black, potting it is something different altogether. It looks like a foul, yes it is, and the Zim fans at the venue chant, "Let's go Sakala." For a free shot, Sakala has suspiciously decided to play the easiest of them balls. He's playing it not to pot, using it as an insurance ball. There's the yellow now portable to the center pocket left for Sakala to come yet closer. Playing it with the stop effect on the cue ball. There's one would be bad of all of them 5 yellows that are on the table. The one that is leftwards of them all, watching on Peter Chobe Live, it is the bottomwards of them all if you're watching on Q-Pixels photography. He taps the cue ball into it and gets it sunk and makes it more realistic that he's finishing the frame and the match in his current visit of the table. it looked so likely. He went so frames behind. He needed to win the last 3 against a player as solid as Zama to make it realistic that he could win the match and take one of his lives into the semi-finals in a competition that is having some of the finest Zimbabwean participation in the history of big African comps. It will be 3 Zimbabweans left in the competition after this match, with Eshka's international teammate Malvern Mukonza making it into the semi-finals of the first life. Sakala will join him in the next 1 or 2 minutes because he seems to be on the verge of taking down Zama. It is Sakala and 1 yellow and 1 black in between himself and the victory. Here is the shot. The simple tap, play the cue ball off the cushion and in position for him to put black to the center pocket. The rest is a formality. All the way from Harare, now in Lusaka, and is now winning. Gets a big smile that hasn't been seen for the duration of the match. Timothy Onida, Sakala Motors, has defeated South Africa's Zama by 11 frames to 10. We meet in the second live quarterfinals. Thank you for the audience.